Hey, it's Father Roderick, and I just watched the latest James Bond movie, 007 No Time to Die. And of course, I want to give you my initial thoughts after having left the theater. This, of course, is the last James Bond movie starring Daniel Craig. And I think this is a perfect ending to the part of the franchise that had him playing James Bond. What I loved about this movie is that it is classic James Bond. It's got all the ingredients. It's got great music. It's got chases, car chases, explosions. It's got a great villain, actually multiple villains. And the stakes are higher than ever. That is maybe what I thought was the most surprising of this movie. After having seen so many installments of the story of this secret agent, how can you raise the stakes so that every time there is more at stake, literally? Well, what this movie does is it heightens the level of the let's say the threat to a global scale. I'm not sure if the world has ever seen a threat like the one that is currently menacing the planet, and that James Bond has to somehow try to prevent from happening. And the movie does something very clever, and it makes the stakes also extremely small and very, very personal. I can't give you any details, but it is, I think, one of the best installments of the series with Daniel Craig, because it makes it more personal than ever before. And that's what I like about the last few movies. It is very personal. It was already very personal, but now it gets even more under his and under our skin. It also makes the movie itself such a fitting goodbye to, well, this part of the story. Because, of course, James Bond is here to stay. You know, he'll be back. It won't be Daniel Craig. Who knows who it will be and who will play 007. But this story is over. The story of this particular secret agent is over. So I thought it was... I was surprised. At first, when the movie starts, you think this is classic James Bond. They bring back his old car. They bring back even music from one of the older movies, and they play that in the intro. You know, you always, before you get the opening titles and the title song, you have this introduction, and usually it's just a chase or something exciting. Here, it's a setup for the entire movie, and especially it's a really nice hint at the way the movie is going to end. You'll understand when you see it. And I thought it was brilliant because I did not expect it to return. So there is the feel at the beginning of the movie that this feels like old-fashioned James Bond. And then after the title song, which is great, I love this title song. I also really love the opening sequence. It harkens back to all the other Daniel Craig movies, in a sense that it's a very modern James Bond. It's dark. There's a bit of humor, but not too much. And well, that's one of the issues that I had in the past with the Daniel Craig movies, is they're too serious. James Bond also should be fun, and well, it is fun, but it's often a little bit too heavy-handed. And this movie also, definitely in the first half of the movie, I should say, it is pretty heavy-handed. However, the movie really redeems itself towards the end. Not that there is much wrong with it, it's just a style that I'm less a fan of, because I grew up with Roger Moore. I mean, you can't get any more irony, more like it was all. Sometimes the movie itself became a parody on the Bond tropes. So since I grew up with that, I had some difficulty adapting to, you know, the more serious tone of these last few movies. But as I said, the movie kind of really shifts into a very personal, emotional vibe at the end of the story, and I thought that was unexpected to me, and I thought it was really, really well done. And it makes the farewell, the goodbye to Daniel Craig's character have so much more impact than I thought it would have. wow, it's got so much. The music, Zimmer, I think, is really, really good. It's, again, classic soundtrack. Couldn't wish for anything better. The locations are marvelous. There's some really crazy characters in here that are very well played. There's this lady at the beginning who's helping him in Cuba. She's amazing. I want to see more of her. She is really, really, really fun. And all the women, by the way, in the movie are extremely strong characters. This is so far beyond the damsel in distress trope that used to be part of the genre of the James Bond movies. In this movie, all the ladies are definitely hold their own compared to the male characters. Let's say there's this very young actress also. This plays a girl, and she is amazing. I mean, it's known in the industry that it's very hard to film with younger children. But I was very impressed with what she did here as a performance. Let's see what else. Special effects are really great. Of course, they get better every time. It's very hard to tell what is practical, what is CGI, but it just works. Special effects are supposed to not be visible. You should forget about them because it's all about the story that they facilitate. Well, they did a terrific job. I also really loved some of the locations that they went to. This starts in a beautiful town in Italy, and actually one of my friends, Luigi, told me that this is this is not CGI. What you see there is a real town that is built against a rock, and part of the city is actually hewn out of the rock itself. It looks gorgeous, and it's a fantastic location for the opening of the movie. And it's also back at the end of the movie. I can tell you that. That's not a spoiler. Then they go to Cuba. Where else did they go? Well, there's some more generic locations as well. Everything is beautifully filmed. This is also what I liked about the movie is it's more colorful than most James Bond movies have been, and especially with the landscapes and with the locations, that color is super vibrant, and also the cinematography seems to be a little bit more classic again. For a while, it was very popular to do these a certain shutter speed of the cameras where everything looked super, actiony, but also very choppy. Handheld cameras that moved all the time. This movie is much more conventional when it comes to the way it was filmed, and I think for the better. It makes it easier to watch and makes it more, feel like classic movie making. So, what else is there to say? There were some slow moments in the movie. There were some times that I was like, this deserved a little bit more of the scissors. You need to cut out some of that slow stuff, because sometimes I'm not against slow movies, and I'm definitely not against taking time to use silence, for instance, or slow down the pace in order to create contrast. But sometimes in this movie it felt like, whoa, all of a sudden, like, you come out of a high-octane scene and it's too slow, and I get the point. There's this one particular scene that I can't really explain because it would be part of the story, it would spoil it. But there's this one scene where I totally saw what was coming and what James Bond was going to do, and I was like, yeah, I know what's coming. And then it's like, come on, it took 5 minutes for the movie to do exactly what everybody saw coming, at least. Well, I saw it coming. So that was a bit I'm not sure. So not everything in a movie works, but when it does, it really works. And I think that the last part of the movie, actually, let's say the last 30% for me was the best. It felt most like classic James Bond, had good pacing, didn't do too much action, not too much of the talking stuff, but at the beginning, the first 2/3, there were moments where it was a bit too much exposition, too much like talking to us. Do you really understand what's going on? Well, sometimes it helped because it's been a while since we saw, of course, what preceded this story. And so it was actually helpful sometimes to get a little bit on the nose when, oh, okay, so this is what this guy is doing, this is what that bad guy is doing, and this is what James Bond needs to solve. So for those of you that may have forgotten what was at stake in the previous movies, because this, of course, continues a story, it is helpful. But I think if at second viewing, I may want to have a fast forward button like, yeah, I know that. Just stop, show, don't tell. But all in all, I have to say the movie was a really fitting ending to, again, this part of the story. I can't wait to see what they're going to do next with James Bond. If you have any ideas, let me know in the comments. I don't think that we're going to get a female James Bond anytime soon. But they do play with it in this movie. They do play with it, with that idea. And I think that's actually very smart, because they can say, well, wait, we already gave you what you wanted. And then I think what this franchise needs is kind of a certain classic archetype. Without it, will it still be James Bond? I don't know. We'll see. I think it is going to take a while before we will see a next installment, and I am super, super curious to know who they're going to pick as the actor who's going to replace Daniel Craig. This was great. Definitely going to see it again, and I love to hear what you thought of the movie. I had some points of criticism, but all in all, I'm super excited. I loved it. Let me know what you thought were the strong points or the weak points of the movie, and especially what you hope will be the next installment, what will be next in the future of James Bond. All right, thank you for listening. Thanks for your time. If you like this, subscribe to the channel, because I'll be back with many more reviews, and who knows, maybe a few years from now with another review of the next James Bond movie. Can't wait. And talk to you later.